Welcome to On Writing with Onkarabile, the show that is aiming to promote reading and writing in our communities. We seek to promote and restore pride and dignity of Africans through the power of reading and writing. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Mr. Tlou Ramoshaba, who is here today to share more on investing in buying books. Mr. Tlou, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Mr. Onkarabile, thank you so much, my good sir, for inviting me here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Yes, sir.
Even though I don't know why you find me interesting.
No, the reason is because, Mr. Tlou, I met you at a bookshop.
Yeah.
Where I used to work at, and you came there buying books regularly. You are a regular customer, and I'm wondering, why are you so much, interested rather, of buying books, because many people are not really into buying books, investing in buying books. You can plan your budget on grocery, paying your bills, but books are not really into your budget, many people. But you, I've discovered that most of the time, you do invest in buying books. So that is why I'm saying, no, man, let me bring you in and share with us, actually, your journey about investing in buying books.
Yeah, no, like you said, I came through. It's been quite, how many months now? About 12 months now. And I've been doing that. I want to hand on heart religiously, like every month. I've been getting myself a book or two. Onkarabile, if you look at what's currently happening in the world as a whole, like we're living in a time that things are changing like overnight. And for one to be relevant, you need to seek as much information that is available out there. And what is the best way of doing that? Buying a books is it's a very cheap, if I have to put that way, a cheap way of acquiring much needed and information for one to be relevant and for one to be successful. Be mental health, be your surrounding, your awareness as well as an individual. How do I put it? We are people, we are human beings, and we have limitations. And our choices as well, and our perspective and our takes on our social surroundings, they're being influenced mainly by the people that we hang around with, unfortunately. And with our limitation as well, because now it's Onkarabile, you're sitting there, I'm sitting here. If you have to say something, you're my friend, and I'm somebody that I'm looking up to, obviously whatever that you're saying, it's gonna have a huge impact on me as an individual. And if I don't take time and invest and try to study and try to seek some more clarity so I can be able to make my own informed decision, my decision is going to be purely based on your opinion and on your options.
Yeah.
And two people are not the same. What works for you might not be necessarily be the same with me. So me buying books is just purely, it's an entertaining for me, and at the same time it's for just to broaden my knowledge and my understanding on life as a whole, because you'll never know everything, but you can try just to narrow that gap. So when you're making some decisions, you know you're making it from a more informed point of view, and like just because somebody else is doing it and you feel that you want to do it. And I remember you asked me one of the good times when I came through if I'm into business, and I said no. Unfortunately not. I've tried that before. Yeah, I've had few businesses that failed, and I find myself one or a few times in some very financial embarrassing situations. And I found myself, there was one time where I nearly lost my life. I nearly got killed because I was like involved in an accident somewhere. And this was just purely me trying to pursue this thing that I have in me, And now I had to take a step backwards, and I had to now try and look at all of my failures and all of the business that I've tried to like put forward and try to identify where did I go wrong. And I just find out that, I didn't invest more time and more knowledge in learning how those business come about, because we see a lot of things that are happening, and we just think that things are just happening overnight, but that's not the case. And the social media as well. Social media is playing a very important role in the economy or in the society as a whole, but at the same time there is a danger in social media, because people just see Onkarabile suddenly just shoot to stardom, and they think that Onkarabile was just an overnight success. That's true, but it's not always the case. People lose money in business. People are facing some serious issues in business, but yet they still persist. You can only be able to do that if you have a knowledge and you're passionate about what you want to fulfill. And
Let's talk about, you spoke something
Okay,
about losing money.
yeah.
When you invest in buying books,
Yep.
because when you talk about investment,
Yeah.
obviously we talk about something that you have to get the reward somewhere, somehow.
True that.
Is there any reward that you are going to get when you invest in buying books? Because someone will tell you that, no, I'm not going to waste money in buying books. I mean, what's the point? I met another guy who came to the bookshop, and he looked at the book and he said, okay, this guy is selling this book and he's saying how to make money.
Yep.
Right? And then this guy said, how much is this book? I'm saying it's 200.
Yeah.
He said, okay, so how much is going to make here?
from buying the book.
From buying the book.
Yeah.
You understand? So this guy has a mentality of saying when he buys the book, he makes that guy rich.
Yeah.
So how is it that when you buy a book, you are not actually making other people rich, but you're also investing?
Well, unfortunately, that's reality. Authors are human beings as well. They have needs. They have families to support. Unfortunately, that's something that you cannot separate from you buying books and making somebody rich or anything of that nature. But that mentality is wrong, because these books are not written overnight. These are projects they put in some time. It takes years, it takes months for people, sleepless night, people investing in writing these books. So the only thing that you can do, you only buy a book for 200 rand. That took somebody almost like 10 years to put that book together. There's a lot of information that you're going to get out of that book. That 10 years of research that was done on your behalf while you were like enjoying your sleep, somebody else was like an owl out there trying to put this information together for you, so that you can be able to consume. The little thing that you can do is to reward them. You buying a book is not necessarily can amount to the time that was invested in that book, but it's just you showing a token of appreciation that, this book is something that you're gonna learn from. I've never read a book and say at the end of the book and say, oh, what a waste. There's 2 or 3 things that I'm definitely gonna come out from that book, even things that but you are not aware of. You find those things in books and you'll be like, oh, okay, is this how it is? But me buying book, I don't see it, because that's you said something that when somebody buy a book, they're already thinking how much I'm gonna get out of this book. That's a wrong mentality as well. It's not about the money, but it's about the pursuit of knowledge. It's about trying to close that gap. You are a human being. You have numerous limitations. As it is me sitting here, I'm not saying that what I'm saying here is all right, or it's all relevant, or it's only the solo truth. I'm just saying, for me, it helped me a lot. The person that I was 12 months ago when I started this journey of buying books, compared to the person that I am today, I'm seeing a huge improvement. And I think that's the only way that you can gauge yourself if you're growing as an individual from buying books, or if what you're doing is adding value in your life. Look at the person that you were yesterday to the person that you are now. I'm looking at the person that I was this morning when I get up, and then I'm comparing that person to the person that I am right now sitting behind this mic. Is there anything that I've done to improve myself? And if that's the case, it's a yes, and then I'm happy with that, and then life goes on. If I make money because I read your book, that's a bonus. But let not the purpose of the whole idea of reading being after money. No, let it be a broader picture. It's not all about you. You are here as an individual for sure, but look at your surroundings as well. You're a light. That's something that you need to understand. And you reading books, it's like now you're broadening that light. You are now moving from a 60 watt, now you're becoming like, I don't know how do you measure the watts on the light? But you need to look at yourself like that. Like, I'm a light. If I'm a candle light, now I need to upgrade now to a bulb light. And then be able now to give more people a view. Light does not enjoy the brightness that it gives to people. It's only people that enjoy the brightness of light.
Exactly.
So if you buy a book, you need to look at it in that way, that I'm equipping myself with the necessary knowledge that is out there in order for me to give back to my surroundings and to my community and to the world as a whole.
And you know, Mr. Tlou, you spoke something very important that I think we must consider. And when I asked this question, you said we must also realize that authors are also human beings. You know, they have taken their time investing in writing that book that will give you knowledge. By saying that, are you discouraging the issue of people not buying books, but there is this thing of tendency of borrowing books, you know, and other people even went to extreme of stealing books. You know, I mean, we had a theft at our bookshop. People will steal books. I remember I told you that, you know, we had to be always watch out because people will steal books. You know, so are you discouraging such kind of actions?
Stealing, yes, I'm discouraging stealing. You need to look at the law of the land that where you are. You have laws, you have rules and regulations that you need to always at any given time. You as an individual, you know when you're doing something wrong and when you do something right, regardless of how you want to go and set it out there that what you're doing you thought was not wrong, but deep down you know that what you're doing something that is unlawful, and stealing it's one of those. Well, I don't really discourage borrowing books, to say, because obviously somebody out there might need that knowledge or that information that is in that book, but they cannot be able to afford it. If I can be able to borrow you my books, I can do that. But the only thing that I've learned in the past is that when you're borrowing something to somebody, some people, they don't appreciate what you're borrowing them, and when you get it back, you're not getting it back in the state that you want it to be. So that's the only thing that I have against borrowing. But other than that, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem at all with borrowing books.
So, but if someone can afford, you can encourage that they must invest in buying books.
No, most definitely. I will definitely do that. Like, I'll just give you like a reality right now, like something that happened in my life. Like the beginning of this year, it was a bit rough. I lost my dad, and it was a bit of a challenge. I didn't see how I'm gonna get through this. Like, I'm still getting a little bit emotional when I'm thinking about it. This is the man that I've known for the past 37 years of my existence. So I bought a book. Through that book, reading that book, it's a psychology book. Through reading that book, I got more of kind of like closure in a way. I got more kind of like healing in a way. And if I have now to go and consult and go and see whatever you wanna, is it the psychiatrist or the psychologist or whatever you wanna call it, if I had to go and make an appointment to go and see them, the money that I'm gonna spend to consult compared to the money that I spend buying that book, it's gonna be like an ocean apart. So for me, buying that book, it was a very cheap way of me getting through and dealing with the unfortunate event that unfortunately we cannot get away from as beings, and it helped me a lot. So that's why I'm seeing reading as it's not necessarily just to kill time, or maybe because you're bored, but it's something that can actually make you a better person.
Let's talk about time.
Yeah.
We are living in a days where people don't have time, or people claim to not have time.
Yeah. That's
so
one.
how do you make time, and how can you encourage Onkarabile there watching this show, saying, I don't have time to read?
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a good one, and unfortunately Onkarabile has a 24-hour in a day, and I have a 24 hours as well in a day. So it doesn't mean that me reading, I have extra 1 hour that I need to steal from somebody else. No. So I think it's just a matter of time management and how you plan your day. When I was still, before the COVID-19 happened, so I had my morning devotion or I was like on this spiritual journey where I decided, I'm gonna actually study through the Bible. Yeah. So before me coming to the bookshop, I was already on that journey by studying the Bible. I think I've went from Genesis to Revelation, and I think I went over and over. But the only two books or letters that I've been studying the Bible is the Psalm and the Song of Solomon. Yeah. But the rest letters that you can think of in the Bible, I think I've went through more than 2 or 3 times each. So how did I do that? I think it just started with a decision. You need to decide as an individual that this is something that I want to go. This is the journey that I want to take, and then you will definitely make time. So how did I do it? I used to get up an hour or so earlier before my get up time. So if I have to get up at 5 o'clock to prepare to go get ready to work, I will normally get up maybe 4 o'clock. That 1 hour, I will use that 1 hour to do some of the things that I need to do in the morning, just to get me ready for the day.
But what motivated you? What inspired you to do that?
Like I said, it needs to be something that comes from within. I think there's somebody that one of the bishops that I once watched their clip on YouTube. It's like there's about questions that every being need to answer. You need to know who you are, or why are you here, or what can you do, where are you going. If you can be able now to ask yourself, am I here just to benefit myself, or am I here to benefit the society and the world as a whole? If you can start answering that question, then you will have that thing within you that will drive you. And something that I can just mention, like I said, just went through the Bible. I think there was a time where Jesus Christ was at the well with the Samaritan woman, that famous woman who said no to Jesus when he was asking for water. Yeah. So his disciple, they went in the town to get some food. And when they came back, they found him talking to that woman, and they tried to offer him food, and he said no. And then they were wondering if somebody already gave him food. And then his answer, he said, his nourishment, he get it from the work and to finish the. I don't like to misquote, but I think somewhere in between those lines that he said something about his nourishment coming from doing the fulfilling or doing the purpose and finishing the work that he was here for.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that it's not something that somebody can force it upon you. It's something that you as an individual, you need to decide. You need to come from within. I was for the past 4 years after I got married. Obviously, now I need to change my lifestyle now. I need now to shift my thinking now from being a boyfriend and now being a family man, and now taking the responsibility that somebody trusted me with their daughter's life and for me to look after them. And if you have to look at the stats right now in the country or in the world, how marriage now has lost its value and how people are divorcing left and right, I took it upon myself to say, you know what, let me see how can I better this? How can I be a better man? And the only way that I could thought of or I could think of at that moment was, let's go in the Bible. Let's try and figure out what God actually wanted us to learn. All of these authors that they have put together all these letters and come up with something that is called a Bible. I'm not saying that that is the only way that you can learn, or you can be a better person, or you can find your inspiration. We are not the same, and I think that's something that we need to celebrate, that we are different beings, we are diverse. So what works for me might not work for you. You might be somebody who believes in the ancestors and everything like that. I'm a no judge for anybody. I'm not here to judge humanity or for people and their beliefs, but I just believe, and I just know for a fact or for sure that whether you're a Christian or you're not, there's something that you believe in, something bigger out there that you believe in. So you need to go back and just ask yourself, what was the intention, what was the dream behind the maker for you to be here? What was the maker thinking when he said, Onkarabile, you need to be here? And why are you still here when so many people that you have witnessed passing away? And why are you still reserved? What is it that you still need to offer this world? And if you can be able to ask you those questions, I think that's where now that desire, that passion, that inspiration will come from within. You'll not need somebody to come and motivate you and tell you what to do.
Before you preach, because now it's like you're preaching.
It's like,
let me ask you the last question before we wrap up this interview. Sorry, many people have asked me this question when I was working at the bookshop.
Yeah.
Of saying, I want to buy a book every month as you are doing, but I'm afraid that now I'm gonna have a lot of books in my house. Where am I gonna take them after I'm done with this book?
Yeah.
So can you please give us the advice of that? Am I now going to make my house full of books which I've read? I no longer use them. How is it working?
I think look, I'm a father of two boys. I'm raising boys, and one of the reasons why I'm buying books and I'm not downloading them is for them as well to know and maybe try and see the journey that made me who I am today, or whenever that I have to depart from this earth. My son, they need to have something that they can say, my dad studied this book, I need to go and see what was in the book. Knowledge, of course, you cannot be all-knowing. Only God can be. And buying books, and if you feel that you're going to have your house full of books, I think you just need to treat them the same way that you treat your shoes. If you feel like you're having a lot of shoes, you give them away. You sharing the books, donate the books that you feel that, you know what, you have had enough of those books, then you can donate. You can do that. But if you still feel like, you know what, because sometimes you will go through a book, there's something that you might not catch or you might not get at the first attempt or at the first reading. So when you go back and review the book, and when you read over and over, it now starts to click, and it'll be like, I've read this like how many times? Only now, after the fourth or the fifth time, only now I'm getting it. So it's not necessarily about who has the biggest collection of book, but it's all about what are you doing after reading, because knowledge, it's a powerful thing, but knowing something and not acting on it or implementing it, it's something else.
Mr. Tlou, thank you so much for coming to the show. I mean, I wish we had more time.
No, definitely.
Because I can see that now our conversation is flowing.
I think let's just say to be continued.
Yes, I think that's a very good way to use it. Thank you so much, Mr. Tlou.
Makutse, like I said earlier on, it's an honor that I find you find interesting, You find me interesting, and you find interest in taking this time and having me here, man. Thank you so
welcome,
much.
Sir.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching On Writing with Onkarabile, the show that is aiming to promote reading and writing in our communities. Please do subscribe to our channel, Nolu Unlimited Multimedia. Like and share this interview. Thank you so much.